So today we are going to discuss the histology of the salivary glands. The main function of the salivary gland is to produce the saliva, which is useful in the initial digestion process of the food. Another function of this salivary gland is to keep moist the oral cavity. So in the next slide we will discuss the classification of the salivary gland. So the classification has two criteria. One is the minor and another that is the major category for the classification of the salivary glands. In the minor category you have four types. First one, that is the labial salivary gland, and that is situated in the oral lip area. Number two, in this you will have the buccal glands, that is found in the cheek region, and number three, that is the palatine gland, that is found in the palate region. Number four, that is the lingual salivary glands, and that is situated within the substance of the tongue. So in the minor category you have four name, that is the labial, buccal, palatine as well as the lingual. Now in the major category you have three glands. First one, that is the parotid gland, which is the largest salivary gland in the human, and the type of this gland according to the secretion is serous. Next one, that is the submandibular gland, and according to the secretion that is classified as mixed gland, but here the serous component is more as compared to the mucus. Number three, that is the sublingual, which is again the mixed type of the variety, but here the mucus component remains more as compared to the serous one. To remember the submandibular and sublingual gland, you have to just take the two letters from that spelling. Suppose from the submandibular gland we are taking the S and M word, that is stand for serous and mucus, but the S comes before the M, that is why serous component is more than the mucus component in the submandibular gland, while in the sublingual we are taking two letters S and L. From the S there is the serous, and L, that is the less. So serous compound is less as compared to the mucus in the sublingual gland. So this is something regarding the classification of the salivary gland. In the next slide we will see the basic organization of the salivary gland. Now in any salivary gland, the most outer region that is covered with connective tissue capsule, and from that capsule there is emergence of various septa, that is traveling towards the central substance of the gland and ultimately dividing this whole gland into the lobes, various lobes. Now within a single lobe there is aggregation of the acini, which is concerned with the production of the secretory material, and that gathering or aggregation of that acini is termed as the lobule. So ultimately you have two component in the organization, the acini, multiple acini, as well as the highly branched duct system. Now within the acini you have three types of the acini are there. First one, that is the serous acini, and that under the HNE preparation that serous acini is stained in dark manner as compared to the mucus one. Second one, that is the mucus acini, which is having the light staining property under the HNE preparation. And third one, that is the mixed acini, which is having both the serous as well as the mucus. And the more prominent feature, the most peculiar feature of this mixed gland, that is the serous demilune, the half moon shaped cap over the mucus acini by the serous cells, that is termed as the serous dabellum. We will see how the serous dabellum is formed in a last slide. So, according to the secretion, that is serous, mucus and mixed type of the acini are there. Now, the duct system. Now, the secretion that is produced by this acini collected within the lumen of that acini, and from that lumen that should be carried out at the particular site. So, for that carrier mechanism we have the duct system. So, first duct that is nearer to the acini, that is termed as the intercalated duct, and the epithelium of this duct that is having the simple cuboidal or the squamous type of the cells in their wall. After the intercalated duct you have the striated duct. Why this is duct is known as the striated duct, we will discuss this later on. Wall of this striated duct that is lined by the simple columnar cells. Keep in mind, simple columnar cells, they are going to line the striated duct. The third duct just after the striated duct, that is known as the interlobular duct, and the epithelium of this duct that is of the simple columnar or the pseudo stratified columnar type. After the interlobular duct you have the lobar duct that is confined or that is designated for each and every lobe of the salivary gland, that is termed as the lobar duct, and the epithelium in the wall of this lobar duct that is termed as the stratified columnar or the cuboidal type of the epithelium. Last duct that is open onto the into the oral cavity, that is known as the excretory duct, the main excretory duct. The epithelium of this duct is having stratified columnar or cuboidal type of the epithelium is there. Now, in some textbook they mention that the terminal portion, remember the terminal portion of this main excretory duct, that is having the variation in the type of the epithelium, and this epithelium may be of stratified squamous non keratinized type of the epithelium, same with the epithelium of the oral cavity. So, this is something regarding the basic organization. Now, we will see the schematic figure to show you how this acini and duct system is oriented. So, here you can see the schematic diagram. So, in this you can see this yellow color area covered with a dotted line. So, this is considered as a lobe of the salivary gland. Salivary gland has many lobes. Each lobe has a lobar duct. So, within this lobe you have aggregation of the acini, and that aggregation is termed as the lobules. Now, you can see the terminal swelling or dilatation like structure here. So, that is termed as the acini. Now, the secretory material that is produced by the acini collected within the lumen of the acini, and from the lumen that should be carried up to the exterior aspect. So, first duct that is going to carry away the secretory material from the lumen of the acini, that is termed as the intercalated duct. Okay. So, you can see here the intercalated duct. After the intercalated duct you will have the another duct that is known as the striated duct. Okay. This duct is the striated duct, that is having the striated cells, that is why it is known as the striated duct. After this striated duct you have this duct, and that is known as the interlobular duct. After the interlobular duct there is a joining of the duct that is carrying secretion from the individual lobe, that is termed as the lobar duct. So, here you can see these three lobar ducts, they are uniting with each other, and ultimately that is forming a single duct that is known as the main excretory duct. This one is the main excretory duct, and that is going to open at the oral cavity. So, this is something regarding the arrangement of the acini as well as the duct system. Now, we will see the arrangement within a single acini and its duct. So, here you can see the single acini as well as its duct system. So, first you can see this type of pyramidal cells here, they are arranged circularly, you can see pyramidal type of the cells, they are termed as the acinar cells. Now, these cells have variation according to the serous and mucous type of the acini. If the acini is serous type, you have pyramidal type of the cells, but whenever there is a mucous type of the acini is present, the cells lining the lumen of that acini, that is having the either pyramidal or columnar type of the cell. Next one, you can see just onto the outer aspect of this acinar cell, there is a continuous lumen, continuous lamina is present here, on which there is a position of the acinar cells. So, that lamina is particularly termed as a basal lamina, on which the acinar cells rest. Now, still outer to this basal lamina, you will have some cells. Okay, you can see this is 1, this is 2, and this is 3. So, these cells, they are termed as the myoepithelial cell or the basket cell. The specific function of this myoepithelial cell is to expel or to convey the secretion collected here within the lumen of the acini towards the duct system. Okay. So, another name of this myoepithelial cell, that is also known as the basket cells, and structurally they are containing the contractile protein, that is why they are able to contract and move the secretory material towards the duct system. Next, you will see the duct that is just nearer to this acini, that short duct, that is termed as the intercalated duct, and the epithelium of this the wall of this duct, that is lined by the simple cuboidal type of the cells. Next, you can see this bigger duct, okay, that is lined by the columnar type of the cells, and that is termed as the striated duct. So, this is something regarding the arrangement of a single acini with its duct system. Next, you have the 4 sections of the 4 ducts that is present within the salivary gland. The first duct, that is known as the intercalated duct, and the epithelium of this type of duct, that is having the lining of the simple cuboidal or the squamous type cells. Next one, you have the duct that is known as the striated duct here, and the shape of the cells lining this wall of the duct, that is having the columnar, simple columnar. In my previous video, I forget, or by mistake I mentioned instead of simple columnar, I mentioned the simple cuboidal or simple squamous. So, I am going to correct this mistake right now, and courtesy for this correction is going to one of my student, Hitav Shah. So, thank you very much, Hitav Shah, for correcting this mistake. Next one, that is the interlobular duct. Here you can see the wall of this interlobular duct, that is lined by the simple columnar or pseudo stratified columnar type of the cells. And last, that is the multiple layers you can see within the wall of this duct, and that is known as the main excretory duct. So, multiple layers are there. So, you can term this epithelial wall as a stratified columnar or the cuboidal. And also remember that in some book they mention that terminal portion of this main excretory duct, that is having the characteristic of the stratified squamous epithelium non keratinized in nature, same with the epithelium of the oral cavity. So, this is something regarding the various ducts and their characteristic wall pattern. In the next slide, we will see this single cell that is forming the wall of the striated duct. So, this is particularly the cell of the striated duct. We are going to understand why this duct is known as the striated duct. Now, in this cell at the top level, this is the luminal aspect of this cell. This is the basal aspect. So, onto the basal aspect, you can see the creation of the foldings of the plasma membrane, basal foldings of the plasma membranes that you can see here. You can see this type of foldings is there. Now, within the fold there is a placement of the mitochondria. You can see this is the mitochondria placed within this gap created by the plasma membrane foldings, and this type of foldings as well as placement of this mitochondria, that is giving this cell a basal striations in appearance. That is why because of this basal striation, this cell is known as the striated cell, and this duct is known as the striated duct. In the next slide, so after gathering all the knowledge of structural organization of the salivary gland, we can conclude that the similarity in a structure between the salivary gland with the bunch of grapes. So, in bunch of grapes you can see the grape that is having the same arrangement like the acini. So, you can refer the single grape as a acini of a salivary gland, and next one here you can see the various branching stems here. So, that is representing the duct system of any salivary gland. In a next slide, now we are going to discuss the serous, mucous and mixed gland as far as their HAD preparation is concerned. First we discuss the serous gland. So, in human the serous gland is the example of the serous gland in human, that is the parotid. So, in this schematic diagram of the HAD of the serous gland, first structure here you can see this structure, that is known as the serous acini. Okay. So, this serous acini that is going to stain darker as compared to the mucous acini, as well as if you notice the cell that is forming this acini, the shape of this cell that is pyramidal in shape, having the small lumen and nuclei that is of the round type of the nuclei, and the staining property that is of this cell, that is having the basophilic staining at the base of that cell and acidophilic at the apex. Why there is a difference in the staining property? We should understand that. So, at the base of the cell there is a aggregation of the ribosomes and related materials. So, this type of characteristic is giving staining property basophilic in nature, while at the apex of that cell we have acidophilic staining due to the presence of the secretory granules. So, keep this staining difference in your mind while you look at the slide. Number 2, this is the duct that is situated or surrounded by the various acini. Okay, you can see this is the acini surrounded one duct So, this duct is the striated duct having the simple columnar type of the epithelium. Next one, that is the signet ring cells. You can see this area, signet ring cells, that is having the characteristic, and that structure is the adipose tissue. Number 4, again one duct is there. So, this duct is known as the interlobular excretory duct, that is situated within this connective tissue septa, that is separating the various lobe of the salivary gland. Now, the epithelium of this duct, that is having the simple columnar and the pseudo stratified columnar type. So, that was all about the serous gland. Now, we are discussing the mixed gland, and specifically that is the submandibular gland. So, remember that S stands before M. So, here the serous component is more as compared to the mucous one. So, in this slide you can see first structure, that is located here, situated here. You can see the mucus acini, formation of the mucus acini here, and that is covered by a cape like structure here. So, that is known as the mucus acini with a serous demi-lune. Remember that serous demi-lune is not a anatomical structure, it is a artifact. We will understand this in a last slide. Number 2, again one acini is there, but if you compare this acini with this one, you can see that the staining is differing. The staining is darker, as well as the nuclei are round as compared to this acini which is flat. So, this is serous acini. And number 3, you can see here one duct again. This is the mucus acini. Coming from this mucus acini, the duct is termed as the intercalated duct. Next one, number 4, that is the interlobular duct, having the simple columnar or the pseudo stratified columnar type of the epithelium. Next one, that is the again the acini, mucus acini, but here there is no serous demi-lune, just only the lightly stained mucus acini is there. So, in the next slide, this is the of the sublingual gland, mixed variety, but here serous less from the sublingual, serous less. So, serous component is less as compared to the mucous area. First structure you can see, that is the mucus acini. This is the mucus acini. You can see the lightly stained cells, as well as the nuclei is situated nearer to the basal lamina, and lumen of the acini is wider, as well as the nucleus is flat as compared to the serous one. Number 2, that is the darker staining area. So, that is termed as the serous acini. Note down the round nucleus which is situated nearer to the base of this gland. Number 3, again the duct which is having the simple columnar or pseudo stratified columnar type of the epithelium, that is termed as the interlobular excretory duct. You can see here interlobular duct, excretory duct. Number 4, that is again the serous demi-lune, a cape of the serous cell over the mucus acini. Last one, you can see this is the structure within the connective tissue septa, that is termed as the interlobular blood vessel. Last one, that is the number 6, that is termed as the, you can say, the intercalated duct. which is having the epithelium of the simple cuboidal type. So this, and here you can see this is the adipose cells, signet ring cells. So this is something regarding the sublingual gland. Now with this figure we will understand how the serous demiluin is going to be formed. In first figure you can see this is the serous cell, serous cells, 3 serous cells are there. They are lying in between this lightly stained mucous cells. And in another figure you can see the serous cells, they are forming a cluster and they are lying in form of a half moon shaped cap over the mucous cells. So this first schematic diagram is representing the microscopic image that is fixed by the rapid freezing method for the tissue. Whatever the tissue is obtained, that is freeze by the rapid freezing method and then viewing under the microscope. And in this there is a fixation of the tissue that is done by the formalin type of the fixatives. So that is the difference as far as the fixation of the tissue is concerned. Here is the rapid freezing method and here is the formalin fixatives. So whenever we are using the formalin type of the fixatives, the mucin present within this mucous cell as well as the lumen, that is going to expand or swell. Due to this expansion and swelling of this lumen as well as this cells, mucous cells, the position of these serous cells, which are not going to be swelled, is changed, and that is located here in the form of the half moon shaped or cape like structure forming over the mucous cells. So that is termed as the serous demiluin. So again remember for your viva purpose that serous demiluin is a artifact, not a actual anatomical structure. Actual anatomical, you will find the serous cell between the mucous cell. This is the normal arrangement, but due to the formalin type of the fixative, you will find the serous demiluin. So here in this figure you can see the mucous cells having the flat nucleus near the basal lamina, serous cells having the round nucleus towards the base, and you can also mark the staining property. At the base you will have the basophilic base and apex the acidophilic apex. So also you can remember that base B, basophilic B, so BB, base basophilic, and apex and acidophilic both is having the starting letter A, so apex acidophilic. And last one you can see the serous demiluin here. So this is something regarding particularly the serous demiluin, which is a artifact. Again remember, this is most important for the viva as well as the theory concept. So thanks a lot for watching the video, and again sorry for the mistake I have already done regarding the epithelial lining of the striated duct, which I mentioned simple squamous or cuboidal, but actually that is the simple columnar. Okay, and thanks to Mr. Hitev Shah, my student, for correcting my this mistake. Thanks a lot.